Hi, welcome to the gym. Glad that you're here. Today's topic is super interesting. Bariatric surgery doesn't change your brain. We know this already, but we're going to learn why that is. So here is the brain. The parts of the brain that we're going to focus on today are in red: the ventral striatum and the nucleus accumbens. And those parts of our brain are responsible for planning, decision-making, motivation, reward, and reinforcement. And those are all really important qualities if we're going to have a successful life, but especially on our weight loss journey and maintenance. Also, this is where part of the dopamine pathway comes, and so it plays an important part in that, in the feel-good chemicals that our brain releases. A study was done and published in June of 2023 that did an interesting thing. They had two groups of people lose weight. One was a slender group and one was an obese group. And then they scanned their brains 12 weeks post-weight loss to see how the brains looked, if the brains had changed pre and post weight loss. And what they found is that the slender group, their brain was able to tell them when they were full, when they'd had enough nutrition and they were done eating. But the obese group, even though they'd dropped weight, it had not altered the way their brain absorbed information about the food that they were eating. And so when the slender people learned, yep, we're full, stop eating, the people that were overweight, even though they dropped weight, their brain did not recognize when they'd had enough to eat. This has very good implications or bad implications for weight loss surgery, because the brain still doesn't, after weight loss, recognize fullness or feeling satisfied. And that's sort of troubling if you're a weight loss patient, because you're thinking, wow, the brain is still going to want to feed me or going to think I'm not full yet. And if you eat a lot, or if you've eaten the amount that you think you should eat and you still don't feel full, that is the reason. The brain has not gotten the message. Also, the dopamine centers that usually fire when we eat because we enjoy eating or enjoy the taste of food were not triggered in the obese group. So the implications for weight loss patients are that we have to think through our food. We can't expect intuitively to know when we're done, because our brain doesn't work that way. It doesn't recognize when we're full or satisfied, and we're not going to necessarily feel good about food. Now, there's exceptions. The little ray of hope in this study is that they stopped studying it after 12 weeks, so 3 months down the road. That they haven't done a long-term study about, well, what about people that keep their weight loss for longer? Does their brain change? That hasn't been studied yet. Another interesting study in Spain, they studied patients that went through bariatric surgery during COVID, and they called them on the phone and did an online survey about their eating behaviors, lifestyle, mental health, substance use, and weight. And what they found was that during COVID, with the lockdown, 85% got worse at diet planning. And this is going to be no surprise to any of us. 91% were more sedentary, 27% were more depressed, and 36% were more anxious. And this is the interesting part that has implications for us. Smoking increased 84%, alcohol consumption increased 71%, and weight gain went up 86%. This is really interesting. This is the bariatric population. So the conclusions are, no surprise, negatively COVID-influenced lifestyle, mental health, substance use, and weight in bariatric surgery patients, with important clinical implications. So what they recommended is effective therapeutic strategies be developed for bariatric surgery during this challenging pandemic. And even after, we can go, yeah, that was a stressful time, way more stressful than real life is without COVID, but we still have our stress times. And we don't want to increase smoking, we don't want to increase alcohol, and we certainly don't want to increase weight. So what do we want to do? Because we know that's our tendency. And there's one other piece of information that's important. In 2018, there was an analysis of long-term weight loss and found that 50% of normal population, non-weight loss surgery people, regained their weight after 2 years. And by the 5th year, 80% had gained their weight back. So weight loss is still a better way to go. The statistics are better, but just understand that humans tend to regain. So here's some bariatric hygiene ideas for you. Track, get enough sleep, drink enough water, take your supplements, and move every day. Those are just the basics. And when we make those into habits, it becomes really, really important. This is an emotional issue, but it has a behavioral solution. And this is the bariatric piece of the behavioral solution. The next part is know your triggers and plan for those. Look at your habits. Watch for cross addiction, like the study showed us that happens. Have a list of things you can do if you get triggered. Understand your patterns and learn the alternatives. So this is really about knowing you and being able to predict what you will do in most situations and have a plan for that. And the last one is know and understand the process of change. Where are you in the change process? If you've had the surgery, you've taken the action step, are you moving towards maintenance, or are you having to go back and replan and replan and replan to take care of when you have slips or relapses? So where you are and where you're going become really important in overcoming these pretty awful statistics. So here's the workout for today. Pick an area from this list that you want to work on and check in with yourself every day. If you don't record your progress, you may as well not do this, because if you don't record it, it's not going to be in the front of your mind and you're not going to make the changes that you need to make. I like to use an app to record my progress, but journaling is just as good or sometimes better. So choose one from these areas and just start working on it until you get good at it. And then choose another one. Don't try to do all of them at the same time. Trade it if another one becomes more of a priority. And finally, notice every day how strong you believe you can change, how motivated you are to be successful. And those numbers should be between 6 and 10. If they're not, go back and study motivation and belief, and then notice your resources. And this is a great workout to notice those resources that you can put in with whatever you choose to work on. And then what are your challenges? What's going to get in your way? Is it going to be habit? Is it going to be what other people are saying? What's going to get in your way? And have a plan for that. So good luck with this one. This is super important. It's really foundational. And we're lucky that we have some research that validates the facts as we find them, because I know we've been told by doctors before, well, if you just have more willpower or if you just count your calories, you'll be fine. No, your brain actually doesn't do information the way a slender person's brain does. So we just compensate for it by having a plan, following the plan. All right, enjoy, good luck, and we'll see you next time at the gym.